And welcome everybody. Good night. It is 8 o'clock here in San Juan, Puerto Rico. This is another unannounced live stream. I was supposed to do a live stream in Spanish, but we canceled that in the El Ángulo Interesante. So I said, well, I'll do something. I want to do something on Sunday night. I think it's a good time to do something, and I want to do something different. So we have several people here. Francisco Javier Gomez is still awake over there in Spain. Francisco. We've got Charles Latorra, we have Daniel Silverthorne, we had Harold Demi at around 7:49, I hope he's still there, Magnus Nielsen at 6:52, because I started tinkering with this video, and for some reason it notifies you people when I'm just setting up things, which is kind of weird. I didn't know that. So welcome. Today we're going to do something which is different. We got St. Louis Keith, Groucho Marx, also welcome. This is something different. I just picked up the British Way, which is the first multi-pack in the COIN system. You got the board there, and you can see over here the box. Let me see if there's the box. The British Way brings 4 games, and I always found it interesting because I like those packages that bring 4 games, right? And I heard that it was a simpler coin. You got less choices, which I think it's good. It's good to break into the system, because the coin system can be pretty overwhelming in terms of choices and factions. All the factions are different, and there's a lot of options. You have operations, you have special activities, and you can combine ones with the others. Here, with the British Way, it's each side has 4 operations, 3 special activities, at least in this Cyprus game that we're taking a look at. And what we're going to do today is that we're going to go through the example of play found in the rule book. Let me share my screen here. So here you see, for example, the rule book has an example of play. This area that is in gray there is, I've already set up the game. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a photo shoot. I've already recorded the narration. I've already taken the text, and recorded it. And what I'm recording now is I mostly use photographs. Photographs that I'll, in the editing process, I'll put it together with the narration and do one of these extended example of play videos. And what I wanted to do today, which is different, is do this photo shoot, because eventually I want to do like a Patreon channel, and my philosophy is, if I'm going to do a Patreon channel and people are going to pay for the Patreon, I always like to give something in return. And this would be something that maybe would be good to give in return. These live photo shoots, just Patreon only access, but don't worry, you don't have to pay anything. I don't have a Patreon channel, and I don't think I'll have one for the next 3 years. So let's go and take a look at the game. We have the game set up here, and you can see it's a small map which shows the island of Cyprus. Let me get the rules out of the way here. Okay, there you have the island of Cyprus, and we will be taking photographs as I go along. If you want to follow along, if you have the game, just take out the Cyprus rule book, and it's at page 10. You have the extended example of play. We'll be following along there. let me get, I have a beat up photocopy, so I don't have to tinker around with the original rules. So I'm going to be following that. And we'll be taking pictures, and hopefully I'll be able to look at your chat if you have any questions. I'm trying to get better at that. This is it's different from the regular live stream, so let's go through it. The game is set up, just to give you an idea. The red pieces are the forces of called EOKA. These are this is a pro-Greek insurgent group in Cyprus that wanted Cyprus to be like annexed or part of Greece. And they have two kinds of units. They have these cells that you can see here. And when they become active, you flip them to their embossed side with the star. And then they have their arms catches. And they only begin with one arms catch here in the Troodos Mountains. The British come in two colors. You have the troops in typical British tan, and then you have the police in light blue. So this is a light coin game. It is a coin game, but it's a simpler coin game, and you can see the areas of the map. They're not many areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe, plus these two. These are British bases, Dekelia and Akrotiri. And then the numbers that you see here inside the boxes is used when to determine during the propaganda round, when you score points, sabotage points. So, for example, Nicosia will yield 2 in sabotage situations for the insurgents. And in addition to that, of course, we have the bases. We have our initiative track, and this starts like this. We have the first eligible is EOKA, and second eligible are the British. And you will be choosing between a limited op, which is an operation in just one space, the event, or operations plus special activities. Okay, but for example, if the British chose that option and the EOKA chose this one, for the next round, EOKA is going to be first eligible. And it follows the typical coin mechanic that the more ambitious the option you choose, you're going to choose later during the turn. So that's where our starting forces are. And then down here we have the British political will, which is everything to determine victory. If it reaches 0, EOKA wins. And if it doesn't reach 0 and the game ends, EOKA loses. And there's various circumstances that will cause that to go up and down. And then we have the international opinion track, which is important also. It has an impact on the smuggle special activity for EOKA. It starts at 2. If it goes down to 0, they can do no smuggling. Smuggling is moving the arms catches. Arms catches are critical for EOKA. You won't be able to move them. But if it goes to 4, you can move up to 2 spaces, the arms catches. But it starts there at 0. So let's begin with the example of play here. And this is, of course, a coin game. There are cards, and we have the cards here. Let me set them up, and this is the deck of cards. I'm not going to shuffle them around because they've been seeded with the cards that are needed for the example of play. So we're going to place them here. We got the cards set up. Okay, so if you can download the rules from GMT and follow along if you want. So first, we reveal the first card. So since this is a photo shoot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo of before and after. You're going to see a lot of befores and afters. So we take a photograph and we reveal the first card, and it is Akel. And you can see the shaded option usually is better for the insurgents. than the unshaded one. The unshaded one tends to favor the British. So that is the card. And now, if we follow the example, it states that EOKA is first eligible and decides to perform a recruit operation combined with a smuggle special activity. So we place their round marker in the corresponding box. Ops and special activity box. I'll take a picture of that. There we go. And that's the initiative track. Now, EOKA operations, stated there, I'm just going to read it, and I would put in the video just like this picture here. EOKA operations can usually be performed in up to 3 spaces unless, just going to take a picture here, unless the EOKA player spends one of his catches. And that's the round disc that you see there. And with the British, it's similar with the Intel chits. You can spend Intel chits, but normally you can do 3 things with each of these operations, or not 3 things. You can do things in 3 spaces, but if you spend, in the case of EOKA, a disc, or in the case of a British, an Intel chit, you can do it in a 4th space. Okay? So they chose that operation, the recruit operation. It can be performed in 3 spaces, and recruit allows EOKA to place cells in any mountain or town spaces without curfews. The mountain spaces are those spaces that you see there, the Troodos Mountains and the Kyrenia Mountains. Town spaces are the ones in green that you see there, Limassol, Larnaca, I believe, Nicosia, and there's Famagusta, and then the bases are the ones that are rounded spaces. And recruit, which is the operation, allows EOKA to place cells in mountains and town spaces without curfew markers. The British can do a specific operation that will add curfew markers, but there's no curfew markers at the beginning of the game. And they have to be adjacent or with an arms catch. And that would be 2 cells would enter in a mountain space with an arms catch, or 1 cell in any other space. But in this particular case, they're doing this recruit operation. They enter 2 cells in the Troodos Mountains. So we take these cells here from the EOKA available forces, take 2 cells, and we place those cells in the Troodos Mountains. Okay. And then 1 cell each goes into Nicosia and Paphos. So we're going to take 1 cell. And 1 goes to Nicosia. And 1 goes to Paphos. It goes like this. You're going to place it there. Okay, so we did the recruit operation. So now they perform the smuggle special activity. And I forgot, maybe I'll do it in the video. You place these pawns on the board where you're taking action. So there should have been a pawn placed here, 1 here, and 1 here. Okay, so I'll do that. Let me just take 1 picture there. There you go. I'll fix that in post-production. So now comes the smuggle special activity, which allows them to place an arms catch in any town or mountain with a cell and no British cubes. And they decide to place an arms catch. They're going to do that action. I think that's what you use the black pawns for, the special activity in Paphos. So we take one of the discs here. and it goes to Paphos. Okay. And now we remove the pawns because they have finished their turn. Okay, and we have a mention here that alternatively they could have done something different with the same special activity. They could have moved the arms catch, and I'm going to show that also. They could have moved that arms catch. Instead of doing what they did, placing an arms catch in Paphos, they could have moved the arms catch from the Troodos Mountains into Nicosia. Okay, so they could have done that also. But in this particular case, they elected to do what you just saw. So that concludes the turn. And now we have a mention in the example of play about the international opinion track. It says that if the international opinion would have been at the lowest, which is 0, there could have been no smuggle special activity. Could not move anything, any arms catch, or could not introduce an arms catch. And consequently also, on the other hand, if it would have been at its maximum, that is the 4 space there, then they could have moved or placed 2 arms catches. But in our particular case, the international opinion begins at 2, not 0, 2. Okay. Okay, so that is the turn of the EOKA. Just finished. His turn is complete, and now the British player goes. So we have to show here the initiative track. Here we see. So it's the British player's turn. The British player can conduct a limited operation. We have William Arends from Canada. Welcome, William. We have also the British could conduct an event, but in the example that we are going through, it says that they don't want to conduct a limited operation. The event is not attractive to them. The event that we have currently is this event here, which is Akel. Let's take a look at it. Okay, take a picture, a good one. It says that the British may limited patrol, then increase political will by 1. It says that they don't want to do that in the example. So I'm following the example. Okay. Okay. So in this particular example, the British pass, and it explains here what the pass option does. The pass option is always open to either player and allows the player to place their eligibility cylinder in any of the remaining spaces. And in the case of the British, to take 1 intel chit. If this were the EOKA who would be passing, then they could conduct a limited ambush operation. Okay, but here the British decide to place their the pawn. Let me see here. Okay, the British place the cylinder in the limited op space. Okay, so let's do that. Place it in the limited op space. And they draw an intel chit at random from the bag. Well, in this case, what we have is a cup, which is here. You see the cup, and the intel chit that they draw on the example, I already have it set up, is a 2. Intel chit with a 2, and the intel chit is placed near the board. I think it's placed visible to the other player. I couldn't find any reference where you place it face down, so I'm going to place it face up. So we place it there. Now we continue with the example. That is the British turn. The turn is complete. Both players have completed their turns. And now we reset eligibility. And you can see here the pawn that is to the leftmost goes in the first, and the one to the rightmost goes second. So let's place both pawns in their corresponding boxes. Take a picture. There we go. Okay. So now we revealed the next card. So let's go to where we have the cards here. Okay, let's take this one, put it to the side. And this is a coin game where you don't have the top card, the draw pile face up, and you can look into the future one card. In this two-player coin game, it's treated like a regular card game where you just find out when you flip the card. So we go to the next card. And the next card is Development Program. And the British are now first eligible. They decide to perform the search operation with the diplomacy special activity. So we place their eligibility pawn in the operation and special activity box. And that is, again, search operation with diplomacy special activity. And in the video, I will be showing like an overlay. So let's take a picture of the map. Now, British operations can be performed in up to 3 spaces unless they spend an intel chit for an additional space. So if they spend their intel chit, they can perform operations in 4 spaces. Right? And search allows them to move troops to adjacent spaces, reveal cells, and place curfews in town. And in this particular example, they move all 6 troops. Let's see if you can see. You can see them there, but I'm going to take a closer shot there. They're going to move all 6 troops. That is Limassol, Nicosia, and Larnaca into the Troodos Mountains. So let's do that. So take the first shot. Okay. And 3 troops each from Akrotiri and Limassol and Dekelia into Famagosta. Let me see if I can read that again. And 3 troops each from Akrotiri into Limassol and Dekelia into Famagosta. Okay. So now they move. You can see if we can get both of them. We're going to move these 3 here and these 3 here. So let's do that. Let's take the first shot. Let's place them there. Okay. Then in the Troodos Mountains, they activate 1 cell for every cube now present. So let's go to the Troodos Mountain. And they activate 1 cell for every cube now present, flipping all 3 cells there. Okay, so let's do that. Let's take first shot, and now we flip all 3. There you go. Okay, there we go. And in Limassol and Famagusta, they may only activate 1 cell for every 3 cubes now present. Okay. So it's 1 for every 3, but that's enough to activate because there's only just 1 cell. For example, here in Limassol, and Famagosta. Oh, I think my hand got caught there, so let me take it again. There you go. And now we take the other one. There we go. And this is enough, of course, to activate both cells. They must also place a curfew marker in both towns, which will inhibit future recruit and travel, but leaves them vulnerable to propagandize. So these markers that I talked to you about, which are the curfew markers, they are placed also in Limassol. And another one is placed here in Famagosta. And what these markers do, they inhibit further recruit and travel by the EOKA, by the insurgents, but they leave them vulnerable, the British vulnerable to propagandize. Okay, and it says that they could have alternatively spent their intel chit in one town to activate one cell per cube and place no curfews. But they decide not to. So they could have alternatively spent this intel marker, which is a 2 intel, to instead activate. Why is this one like this? I don't think, wait a second. Yeah. No, but it's, yeah, because those got flipped because of the soldiers, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay, this is enough, yeah. But in the example, you could have used the intel, the alternative, to activate the cubes in one town, one cell per cube, and place no curfew. Okay, I see. Because the curfew limits, it opens the British to propagandize. So, but that's not the option that they took, so we leave it here, right beside the board. Okay. Now we go to the second page. This is a 4-page example. Got Captain von Andine, welcome. And here we go. And now they conduct the diplomacy special activity. Let me take a photo of the board. They conduct the diplomacy special activity. This allows them to shift international opinion one step to the left if there are 3 or fewer towns with curfews or sabotage markers. If there are 4 or more, they would instead need to roll higher than the current track value to shift it. And remember that the track value right now is 2, as you can see here. Let's return to the map. It says, okay. I got lost here. Okay. Diplomacy. Okay, one step to the left, there are 3 or fewer towns with curfews. As there are only 2 towns with curfews and none with sabotage, they shift the track from 2 to 1. There's 2 towns with curfews, which is Famagosta and Limassol. So let's put them both on screen there. I will be in the video highlighting both of them. Let's see if I understand this. Allows them to shift international opinion one step to the left. There are 3 or fewer towns with curfews. Okay, there's 2 with curfews. So it shifts from 2 to 1. Okay, so it shifts from 2 to 1. Okay. Okay. Now the British turn is complete. Now we go to the EOKA's turn. And EOKA has the same choice as the British did previously: a limited operation or an event. Let's take a picture there. They decide to execute the event. Let's take a look at the event, what it is. The event is loyalty cannot be bought. Place 2 cells total in any towns. Okay. And they choose to place 1 in Limassol and 1 in Carpas. And new cells are always placed underground. So what we would do is, if you're using the pawns, I mean, you would just place the pawns Carpas and Limassol. So, man, Cyprus stretches. It's a small map, but it stretches. So we would place 1 in Limassol and Carpas. Comes in the picture, okay? So, and we take these cells always from the available forces pool, which you see here. So we take these 2 remaining cells, and we place 1 in, I don't think the order makes any difference, in Carpas. And we'll take out the pawn. I think I didn't take let me do that again. I needed a before and after. There you go. And we place 1 in Limassol. We do the before and after. And this one goes underground. Okay, so that is the turn for, let's see where I am. Okay. Now they have to do the propagandize special activity. Okay. And in both cases, they must activate a cell if 1 is not already active, and then either reduce British political will by 1 if a sabotage marker was selected, or shift international opinion 2 steps to the right if a curfew was selected. They decide to do the latter. Of course, there's no sabotage. Curfew, there's a curfew marker on the board. So this is going to be done in Limassol. Let's take a picture here. So here, just to explain this, EOKA selects a space with a cell and either a sabotage marker or a curfew marker for the propagandized special activity. There's no sabotage markers. There's curfew markers in Limassol and Famagosta over here. And they select Limassol. Okay. And they must activate a cell if 1 is not already active. There's 1 that is active, and then either reduce British political will by 1 if a sabotage marker was selected. That's not the case. Or shift international opinion by 2 steps to the right if a curfew marker was selected. So let's take a close shot at the curfew marker, and then we will go. This will be shifting to the right, the international opinion track. Okay. And from 1 to 3. So it goes from 1 to 3. Okay. Got bend over. Welcome. Okay, so, and it says that they may still only select 1 option, even though there is both a sabotage and a curfew marker. It says there's a sabotage marker? When did that come in? Oh, I just screwed up here. This is the thing about lives. I just screwed up. I just jumped the whole paragraph. Reveal the next card. I skipped a turn. No wonder there was supposed to be a sabotage marker in Limassol. Well, you get the gist there. Okay. I got to get more practice at this. We've been at it for 37 minutes. I have to backtrack, and I don't want to backtrack and do it again. But I just wanted to do something today with this. I guess if you become good playing the game, this all flows. But I just jumped the whole paragraph. So yeah, I'm not going to backtrack. I'm going to leave it there. What I'll do is I'm going to shoot this in private, and I'm going to be uploading this video hopefully this week, before the week is over. We don't have a bomb run today. I don't have any giveaways. Maybe we'll do a bomb run on Sunday. This is a game that I wanted to get into because you get 4 of them. And COIN is something I've been interested in. I've played Cuba Libre a couple of times, and I played Fire in the Lake, but that was a learning scenario. I won a learning game. I won, but with a lot of help from people. So, but it's an interesting system. I think it's a different beast. You know, the good thing is each side always plays different, has a lot of options, and each game is different. Even the games that I see here in this series are in this multi-pack are even though they're 2-player games, you got different conflicts here. You have Palestine 45 to 47, Malaya 48 to 1960, and Kenya. So I hope they produce more of these 4-packs. I'm a sucker for those quad things. I don't know, because the good thing is if you learn to play one, then you can play the other ones. So I'm just going to leave it there. It's been 39 minutes, but this is one idea that I want to do when I know how to play the game. I can do the photo shoot. You've seen how it is. My videos, if I have an extended example of play, well, I use this as the, how do you call it, as the script. And the great thing about doing extended example of play videos is it's impossible for me to screw the rules because I already have a script. So I've already recorded the narration. So I'm just shooting the pictures. I'm going to put the pictures on the editing program, and then we'll have that in, I think, for this week. And I hope any comments from you are welcome. But this is something that when I do the Patreon, if I do the Patreon, this is something that I would do for Patreon exclusive members, something to give extra if I do the Patreon. I hope I can do the Patreon in a couple of years. So this is something I'm looking forward to. But I wanted to try it today. Unannounced video, and we have 9 people. So yeah, it's a new game. You know, it's a beautiful production. The rules are clear as water. I mean, these rules are excellent, and it's I think it's they say Cuba Libre is the game. If you want to break into COIN, go to Cuba Libre. But I think this is a great introductory point because even though you have 4 options, the options that you have, when you have them listed here, you can combine them. For example, the options that you have here, let me see if you see the deploy, operations, patrol for the British, search, and assault, and then some of those can be combined with some of these special activities. So there is some brain burning here. The COIN games, they're famous for burning your brain, but in the COIN game you got like 6 of these and like 5 of these, and so they're much more involved. Here we have the player aid sheet on the other side for EOKA. It's a really nice production, great idea having 4 in 1. So this is one that I said, no, this is an instant buy for me, the multi-pack, and this is Cyprus. This is the maps. You get 2 mounted maps, back printed, very nice. You know, quality that you're used to with GMT, which is always good. So, what was the worst initial British Let me see, we've got William here. So I can read you, okay. Yeah, the British had like a lot of protectorates at the same time, and during a time when there was many independence movements going on, so they had a lot of situations. You know, interesting because the British have a huge empire at the end of the 19th century. Just they have wars everywhere, and then in the situation after World War II, and it didn't happen to the British only; it happened to the French. The decolonization, so this is part of that era, right? But here, this is just the Greeks trying to annex Cyprus to Greece. Then there's another conflict in the 70s in Cyprus between the Muslim population, versus the Greeks there. That was like a civil war there. So that's another one. And there's another system, which is not a GMT system, which I'm interested in also. Maybe do a playthrough of one of these. This is Brief Border Wars. This is by Brian Train, and it's a card-driven system, small maps, few pieces. This is something that I would consider doing a playthrough video, one of these, and they're coming up with volume 2. So I signed up for volume 2. Okay, so guys, thanks for tuning in to this unannounced session. For me, it's a pleasure, and your input is more than welcome. We'll see if I can do more of these. It's like everything, practice makes perfect. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so let me see if I can fly. Here's the ending here, the outro. Take care, guys. Qué jodienda, mano.